Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning.
Welcome, bonjour, bienvenidos. This is the YMCA Ignite Show where we share with you the fantastic work of the YMCAs from every corner of the world and the story of our shared Vision 2030 journey.
I'm Kevin, coming to you live from Melbourne, Australia, the land of the Wurundjeri people, where it's just gone past 10 p.m.
And I'm Mafe, live from Bogota, Colombia, where it is 7 a.m.
It's our pleasure to welcome you from wherever you are in the world and whatever time of day it is, whether you're watching us live on Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube, or even in the catch-up section on our website.
We have got a great show in store for you over the next 45 minutes. Our team has been out all around the world finding stories that will inspire you about the global YMCA movement, its future direction, and importantly, what we call Vision 2030.
Absolutely. Vision 2030 is our global strategy, YMCA's collective North Star, to propel us forward for greater community, national, and global impact.
We are broadcasting completely live, so let us know where you're joining us from around the world today and how your YMCA is engaging with Vision 2030.
Yes, you can comment in the chat on whatever platform you're watching on, or drop us an email at igniteshow@ymca.int. Let us know where you're joining us from and what you're doing, and we'll share some of those later in the comments.
Come up on today's show.
Later, we're speaking to Kayla in Washington, D.C., USA, and Vittori in Brazil, two young leaders who are participating in YMCA's Change Agents Leadership Program. We'll be chatting to them about their interesting work and their respective YMCAs.
We also welcome a really special guest to the show for the first time, World YMCA General Secretary Carlos Zambi, who will be answering your questions on Vision 2030. You can share them in the chat now.
Plus, we'll be hearing about the work of YMCA Moldova connected to our Meaningful Work pillar, where they've entered into a new exciting partnership with HP.
But before all that, let's go first to Cape Town, South Africa, where the team at YMCA Athlone are addressing Vision 2030 Pillar 1, Community Wellbeing, through reducing the stigma and discrimination attached to HIV and AIDS.
Where I live, health and well-being is of most importance. It's a nice life, it's a nice place to live in, but it does have its challenges, I will say that. My name is Siyabonga Ngobo. I'm from here in Cape Town. I work here at the YMCA Athlone as a human rights ambassador. There's this thing that is happening in clinics now where if you HIV, there's a certain room that you need to go through, and everyone, it's not a secret. Everyone knows if you go there, then something is. So now people are scared to go to clinics because they're getting stigma, they're getting discriminated.
People still have denialism when it comes to acceptance and disclosure of their statuses. So the stigma is starting there.
The stigma that they get is in relation to either them being late for their appointments, or either if I was HIV positive, for an example, if someone is HIV positive and they miss the appointment, they face the stigma in the community by someone saying, that one is HIV positive. And then now they're in a facility where they think they will feel safe, but still the clinicians are also stigmatizing them, which is compounded stigma.
We're told in South Africa that you can get health service without actually wanting to get tested for HIV. But you go to clinics today, they will deny you service if you don't get tested for HIV. So I'm basically talking for those people and saying, no, but the law says this is not on. This person should be getting treated regardless whether they want to get tested or not.
SDR is short for Stigma Discrimination Reduction Project. So its aim is to reduce the stigma and the discrimination that is happening in communities. And what we do community awarenesses, we go to outreaches, we do community dialogues, whereby we engage with all parts of communities, whether you are from an informal settlement, whether you're a sex worker, whether you are using drugs, we speak with everyone so that we all understand the type of stigmas that these people are facing and how also as a community now we can help in understanding the stigma and then in thus reducing the stigma through dialogues and just having open dialogues with community members.
You know, as people, we are quick to judge, and that's the problem. But this project is eliminating that because it's educating people to just say, you know what, this person may be going through this, but try to be more understanding, try to be more human.
One of the highlights that YMCA is doing when it comes to interventions on HIV is to outsource the clubs. For example, what is happening inside here. It's easy for the community members to access treatment in their area, not to go maybe for 10 kilometers for them to get access.
We've seen a change in the attitude of our communities. Whenever they see our community healthcare workers, they smile, they wave. If there's problems, they call them in to ask for advice on certain things so that we're decongesting services from the clinics and just taking services back into the community where they're needed the most.
I remember there was no health for men, for example, in Kailicha. Now you can find about 2 or 3 which are easier to access to everyone.
It is very important that global issues are also aligned in addressing local issues because we are part of a global community. Yes, we've got borders, but today borders mean nothing. But as part of a global community, what is affected on one end of the world does affect an indirect proportion to the other side of the world. For an example, South Africa boasts a big HIV ARV program in the world with over 7.8 million on ARVs. And we're getting a lot of this money to make sure that we have this program from the United States of America through USAID. So it does have a link between the two.
In my work, I've learned to be more sensitive. I've learned to be more patient, and I've learned to educate myself before I assume.
Oh, my hope for the future is HIV-free generation. It's clear. HIV, STI, and TB-free generation. That's my hope.
My hope for the future in communities that are struggling is that people be more sensitive. People get educated well and we improve our health system.
The change I've seen in this region in the last 5 years is that health is everyone's business.
Wow, amazing words. Thank you to YMCA Athlone in Cape Town, South Africa, for sharing their work with us, showing us how they're addressing the community well-being pillar of Vision 2030. Remember, each of those 4 Vision 2030 pillars has 3 goals, a YMCA one, a YMCA in the community one, and a YMCA global advocacy one.
If you want to share that story with others, then we'll be posting it on our YouTube channel in the coming days.
Don't forget, later in the show, Carlos Zambi will be joining us. He's one of the architects of Vision 2030 and World YMCA Secretary General. If you have got any questions you would like to ask him, then share in the chat and we'll pick some of the best ones.
All right. So we asked you guys to share your greetings. So I'm just going to say a big hello to a few people who've commented in the chat. A big hello to Everest Marandi, who's joining us from YMCA Bangladesh. Welcome. We have our friends at YMCA Kaduna in Nigeria, including EMEA, as well as YMCA Mada Hills, and those at YMCA South Africa as well. Thank you for joining. Hello to Godi, a volunteer with YMCA Ghana, who's thrilled to hear stories of impact. Good evening to everyone at YMCA Mongolia who's watching together. So great to have you today. And lastly, good morning to our friends in Savannah, Georgia, USA, who are watching on LinkedIn, and everyone at YMCA Europe who's joining us this afternoon as well. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Since our last show back in May, a lot of amazing work conversations, meetings, and events have been taking place at all levels of organization on how we advance the Vision 2030 blueprint for a better YMCA and a better world. And our shared response to reimagining our amazing 179-year organization for the 21st century.
The holidays for many YMCA people mean that summer camps, holiday clubs, youth clubs, and community programs are in full swing.
At the same time, YMCA national movements and area alliances has been taking action to put Vision 2030 into practice, empowering young people and communities worldwide to build a just, sustainable, equitable, and inclusive world where every person can thrive in body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah, so it's time for your latest Vision 2030 news roundup. Let's visit the regions, the 4 pillars for Vision 2030 and more.
YMCA Europe celebrated its 50th anniversary using the opportunity to highlight issues of the 4 Vision 2030 pillars at the international gathering of more than 300 delegates from across the continent who met in Berlin.
Great news that the East African YMCAs have entered into a new partnership with the Kofi Annan Foundation to develop and deliver their mental well-being programs aligned with Pillar 1, Community Wellbeing.
Meanwhile, the Asia-Pacific YMCA is gearing up for its 21st General Assembly, which takes place next week in Chennai, India. It will bring together more than 370 attendees from 22 countries, including a Youth Assembly and Gender Equality Forum. This is Sunita Suna, Executive Secretary for the Asia-Pacific Alliance.
YMCA Vision 2030 is absolutely on agenda as the Assembly feature workshops on 6 thematic areas, including the 4 pillars of Vision 2030. The theme is Journeying Together as a Resilient Community, Transforming Lives through Vision 2030.
Back in July, World YMCA Head of Strategy and Policy Razvan Victor Sasu headed to the Inspire Together International Youth Conference hosted by the Chinese YMCA of Hong Kong, focused on unpacking the community well-being pillar of Vision 2030. The event brought together 120 young people from more than 8 countries in the Asia Pacific.
In the US, almost 4,500 YMCA staff and volunteers took part in the YUSA's General Assembly in Atlanta, Georgia in July. It provided the opportunity for networking, inspiration, and education. General Secretary Carlos Zambi shared how local YMCAs from across America play and are playing a vital role in realizing Vision 2030.
We are not alone in this journey. And then by remaining united, we'll achieve. And I'd like to applaud you for staying this journey together with all the global community.
In Latin America and the Caribbean, leaders from across the region came together for 3 days in Cali, Colombia, to deepen conversations about working together, amplifying youth voices, and co-creating a regional strategic plan aligned with Vision 2030, with young people at its core. Local programs themed around the 4 pillars of Vision 2030 were shared, so all could draw inspiration.
There is a new World YMCA team member to welcome, Rahana Murali, who is seconded by White Cares International to coordinate our progress in the meaningful work pillar.
In a great example of the YMCA coming together with YouTube influencers and musicians, Canadian band Walk Off the Earth has reimagined the Village People's 1978 YMCA song to support Canadian YMCA mental health programs. Pillar 3, Sustainable Planet, took a step forward this month with the request for passionate young climate activists from the YMCAs to apply to join our global delegation at COP28, the United Nations Annual Climate Change Summit in Dubai in December. Applications close tomorrow. Watch this space for updates from the event.
You may remember that back in June, we issued a challenge to mark our 179th birthday. Capture a moment in time at your YMCA on our anniversary linked to one of the 4 pillars. We received over 600 images from YMCA National Movement on every continent. We loved the results and we have made them available to all to share.
And finally, World YMCA has a new website which is clearly structured around Vision 2030, its 4 pillars and its 12 goals. It comes complete with a new resource hub and is available in French and Spanish. Let us know what you think. It's a place where young people inside and outside the YMCA movement can come and be informed and be inspired about Vision 2030.
That was your Vision 2030 news update.
Now, have you got a story about Vision 2030 where you are, or about how you're leading innovation in areas of community well-being, meaningful work, sustainable planet, or just world? Let us know, and maybe we'll feature your story next time, or just email us at igniteshow@ymca.int.
Or share your messages, comments, and stories in the chat, and we will do our best to read some out later in the show.
Absolutely. So earlier this year, 120 young leaders from 57 countries joined the latest cohort of Global YMCA Change Agents Program, our leadership initiative to cultivate and empower young leaders as change makers in their communities.
Running since 2014, Change Agents are young volunteers and staff from YMCAs across the world who are strengthening our organizations to serve more young people. They take part in creative and life-changing experiences, including online and face-to-face training, mentoring, and local project development for the expansion of youth services.
Now, you might remember the last time we were joined by Ruth from the Metropolitan YMCA in Singapore. You can watch that interview along with all the great bits of the Ignite show on the World YMCA's YouTube channel.
Today, we're excited to have one change agent, Kayla Victoria, who is Victoria Muller, a volunteer with YMCA Rio Grande do Sul. We meant to have Kayla from YMCA USA, but she couldn't make it. But we're going to have more time in the future to know more about her job. She is passionate. Victoria is passionate about sustainable planet pillar on Vision 2030.
Absolutely. Welcome, Victoria. It's a real pleasure to welcome you to the Ignite show. Firstly, tell us about yourself and your journey so far.
Hi guys, it's so nice finally meeting you. I love seeing you at the Ignite show. So I'm a part from YMCA since I was like 4 years old. I started swimming there, and there we have like almost 40 sports. And I'm proud to say that I practice almost every single one of them. So I started practicing sports at the Y, but we also have leadership courses, which I took since I was a kid also. We have camps, which I've been part of, like school camps, work camps, and it's really nice making part of it. So we also have volunteer projects. And we also have the only school in the whole world, the only YMCA school in the whole world, which is really nice. Which, by the way, I graduated there on high school. So I don't mean to brag, but that's so nice.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well,
what drew you to the Change Agents program initially?
Sorry?
Why you were part of the Change Agents program? How did you become part?
I think it's mostly because of the leadership courses and all the actions that we take, like volunteering and stuff. And so I wanted to know more about the global YMCA and how we can help and how we can evolve together. So I met the YMCA Change Agents course through Instagram, actually. And I was invited to participate from my YMCA.
Victoria, I love the great use of social media to reach young people. I'm just wondering, why is it important for organizations like the YMCA to invest in and develop young leaders?
Well, I think it's most because we need to think about the world, and we need leadership examples, so role modeling and stuff. And that's the whole basis of the YMCA: changing lives, making opportunities for people. So I think that's about it.
Oh, sounds good. I'm also just curious. I know that your YMCA has some great innovative programs, particularly under the Sustainable Planet pillar. Can you tell us a bit more about your environmental project?
Yeah, we have like a lot of projects on sustainable planet, but the one that calls me the most is the one that we also have a cemetery here, a YMCA cemetery. And on the rooftop of the cemetery area, we have a solar plant panels covering all of it. So the energy generated there, it serves the school, it serves a few communities that the YMCA assists. It also covers the energy from the cemetery itself and everything related, like the sports area also. So it's really nice. And it's the largest solar panel plant in Porto Alegre, which is our city here. So it's really, really nice.
Amazing. I think a lot of the YMCAs around the world has to learn from this experience that you guys are having. We're wondering also what conversations are going on across Brazil related to the YMCA Vision 2030.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
It's okay. We were wondering what kind of conversations have been on across Brazil related to YMCA Vision 2030.
Oh, we talk about a lot of sustainability. I think it's the most valuable topic that we talk the most about it. Brazil, it's really into, especially the YMCA, it's really into the environment and what we can do about it. But we also have like a lot of talks about meaningful work and the community well-being, which are actually the pillars of Vision 2030.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Victoria, for your time and your leadership. Leadership is clear that advancing youth leadership across the movement directly links to Vision 2030, empowering young people to become transformative activists like you, leaders and advocates for diversity, equity, inclusion, and social change. Thank you.
Thank you. It was really nice talking to you.
Oh, thank you, Victoria. Well, earlier in the show, we mentioned how YMCA and HP are working together in Moldova on the meaningful work pillar for Vision 2030, working in schools, in community spaces, and specifically amongst Ukrainian refugee groups, giving people greater access to great quality computers, training them on how to use them, and offering skills training for students, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners as well.
These educational digital hubs have been sent nearly 6,000 new laptops and computers donated and distributed in a country where only 1 in every 17 people has access to digital devices, improving digital equity for all. Let's take a look at some of the impacts it's making.
I was excited, I was happy because these computers are better, I guess. There are lots of them in here, in this class. Well, they can develop our skills that you can use personally, but in school they are very useful because you can do all the tasks that are given to you, and you can also work from here when, for example, you don't have the possibility to work from home or something like that. Well, some people in Moldova is not the best country. It's kind of poor, but some people don't afford to work on expensive computers, and this might help them to work and to study and to develop themselves. Because you can see the HP life as an opportunity to develop myself as a person, as a worker.
Fantastic work, amazing. It's clear to see how this partnership is furthering the YMCA in the community goal of the meaningful work pillar, creating, strengthening and scaling sustainable education, upskilling, employment and entrepreneurship opportunities for young people and communities worldwide, with a focus on increasing the readiness for the future of work, as shown here at the Minerva High School.
Access to computers we only had in our informatics classroom, but we could use them only when we had lessons in there, or if we really needed them, we could ask the teacher to use them. In my opinion, I think this donation is an efficient one and is a really welcomed one, because not all the students in our school have access to this type of technology, and so they can participate in homework and in projects throughout this donation, and can also use it for free time. We can spend our leisure time freely in here if we only ask the person responsible for them. I think the program HP Life is really interesting, and it's really an opportunity for people to develop and discover new things, to try and to try different things in different areas, and see what they want to do in the future, to see how things are made in the real life, and at the same time to not be afraid of making mistakes.
And this donation is worth 5.8 million US dollars. So far, the program has worked with more than 300 local organizations and institutions and some 235,000 people.
And this builds on other great programs of the meaningful work pillar of Vision 2030 around the world. For instance, our friends at YMCAs funded the mapping of the world of digital equity programs in the YMCA, which are already underway in 40 countries. The report is on its way. But let's briefly hear from the author, Carolina, and its chief researcher, Darren.
It is of imperative importance that we also make sure that equity and inclusion is at the forefront of our minds when we think about our interactions and designing the digital world. That everyone should have access to the internet, but that internet and that digital world should be safe for all, that it should be at the service of all, and that it should not be one that is built for profit of a few. If the internet is only at the service of a few, designed by a few, and not designed in a way which is truly diverse, equitable, and inclusive, it means that it will only serve a few, and that is not the world we wish to see.
World YMCA now feel it is time to seek out a position on where it stands on these issues and how it impacts young people globally, but from a digital, equitable and inclusive standpoint.
We have also been working with Accenture and an advisory group of partners and YMCA people who have plotted at the end-to-end path of what every person needs from the YMCA in the world of work in a crucial new report. From finding their life project, for example, what they like to do and what they are good at, to finding their next job, to growing their enterprise on following skills pathways to finding the right people to journey with them. Let's hear from 2 people who worked on the report and 2 YMCA people who want to see it used widely across the movement.
Our offering really centered around taking a holistic approach to the problem and the individual. And I think that's really closely aligned to the secret sauce of YMCA, which is your obsession with human centricity.
It is great to see that YMCA invests in empowering young people by taking into account their unique characteristics and aspirations.
The platform captures a very well future of the present of the future of the work and places young people in the heart of it. I call all the leaders and the YMCAs to read the documents.
It's a pathway for young people to genuinely engage with the YMCA, for the YMCA to provide them with opportunity to find their way to decent jobs and mental health. Read it, use it, and share it. One YMCA, one movement, one vision.
Now, on top of this, some very exciting news happening more locally in my backyard with Deloitte Australia, which is mapping the first ever fast-changing employment and entrepreneurship landscape for young people and identifying how, where, and when the YMCA can make the most impact. We warmly thank the YMCA Australia who has stepped up to champion and lead this work. Let's hear from some more from Y Australia, especially about a really important global survey they're launching next month. We all need to take part in when it arrives.
To turn these beautiful glossy documents into actionable reality. And to do that, we've done something pretty bold and something pretty different, and that is we've reached out to global partners Deloitte, because if we are going to unlock the power of our global movement when it comes to meaningful work, and we are one of the biggest employers of young people across the globe, and we run programs and services for young people from the earliest of ages all the way through their lives, well, surely there's something exceptional that we can do at the Y to shift what is a pretty stark reality when it comes to young people around the globe facing into the future of work. So working with Deloitte, we've got a pretty bold set of things to deliver on over the next 12 months. One of those is really bringing together the evidence that already exists. It's about figuring out what we already do really well at the Y and coming up with a mental model that allows us all to talk about meaningful work in the same way. It's about hearing the voices of young people, and we're doing that through a really bold global meaningful work survey. Picture this, 50,000 young people from around the world telling us what they need, telling us the stuff that adds to the evidence base that we already know, that will draw the attention of the ILO, the UN, of governments that we want to fund us. We actually need to hear what young people think. And then we need to work with our young people to draw together some actionable, tangible, you said it before, practical recommendations that uses our exceptional profile to then drive things forward when it comes to making sure young people have the skills, the capabilities, the opportunities they need to emerge into this very new future of work. And it needs to translate across countries, across divides, across all sorts of different employment landscapes. So it's a bold initiative, but it's definitely worthwhile. The question is, how are we all going to get behind this? Because there's no way that we're going to unlock the power of young people's voices through this global meaningful work survey unless everyone buys into it.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. And in case you weren't aware, that was Tal Karp, the great CEO of Y Australia. For more information, do head to our website to find out more. Now, if you haven't already, hit the follow, like, share, or subscribe button on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the whole bit. Every interaction helps.
Coming up very shortly, we'll be joined by World YMCA Secretary General Carlos Zambi. He will be taking some of your questions on Vision 2030, so feel free to type them in the chat now, and we'll take some of the best ones.
Great. Now, Mafe, did you know that it's just been a year since you and I were in Aarhus, Denmark, presenting the World Council Daily together?
Whoa, I can't believe where the time has gone.
I know time flies, but that also means we're just over a year since the global YMCA movement collectively adopted its first worldwide strategy, Vision 2030.
You're exactly right. And before Carlos joins us, let's quickly hear from three people who were there for that momentous occasion. Talcran from YE Australia returns to share with again alongside Jessica Cangolo from YMCA Canada and Grace Chance from the Metropolitan YMCA Singapore. Each of them takes a look back on the last 12 months and forward over the next 3 years until Vision 2030's halfway point.
Vision 2030 has really helped put YMCs all over the world on a connected journey. Here at Metropolitan YMCA Singapore, we've invested heavily on community well-being, especially in the area of mental health. We've built a work culture where staff and volunteers know that it is their well-being before their work we prioritize. I believe our YMCs around the world need to unite in vision and purpose. And together, collectively, regardless of nationality, language, or culture, that we will do our part to impact the world and make it a better place.
Vision 2030 is one of the reasons I took on the role of CEO of Y Australia some 18 months ago. The promise of bringing together our exceptional footprint across the Y, 120 countries, 12,000 communities, all of the amazing things that we do locally across so many communities across the globe. What if we pulled all of that together? What if we pulled that together to actually drive the change that we want to create? When we actually landed Vision 2030 for the first time in our 178-year history then, what an exceptional moment. And for me, why it matters and what we need to do next are one and the same. Now we've got this great blueprint for how we work together that's been co-designed by young people across the world. How are we actually going to make it reality? But we committed to some pretty bold things in Y Australia. And it's been key that we start actioning that. We have engaged in more than 40 workshops, bringing together more than 400 people across our Y Australia context, at least a quarter of them young people, the majority of them working with young people directly in many programs and services around the country. And it's been about figuring out our uniqueness and how we can use our uniqueness to drive tangible, actionable change when it comes to our 4 pillars.
Since the Global YMCA launched Vision 2030, we're well on our way in the process of planning for World Council 2026. Canada looks forward to hosting the World in Toronto as we take stock of our collective progress at the midpoint of the strategy and look forward with the aim of accelerating future action.
Now, as promised, it's our pleasure to welcome one of the chief architects of Vision 2030. That's YMCA, World YMCA Secretary General Carlos Sanvi. Welcome, Carlos. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here.
Hi, Carlos. We are just mentioned and remember well ourselves. We are a year on since Vision 2030 was adopted. So where do you think we are 12 months on?
Well, it was like yesterday. So if I will give you an analogy, if Vision 2030 was a plane, we built a plane 2 years back, and then a year ago, we launched the plane. Where are we today? We are airborne. We took off. We are flying already. And very soon we're going to start serving drinks in the plane because we are going very steadily. More concretely, a year later, if I look back, we are able to build the blueprint of how we're going to implement the Vision 2030. And there are 3 or 4 key areas that we think collectively we can come together. First is about how YMCA, how the members will gather around the pillars and the goal to deliver the concrete impact we want to see on young people and the community. I'll come back to that later. The second one is about, as a collective movement, at the national level, at the regional level, and at the world level, how can we build a support, we call it a backbone or support system, to enable YMCA to deliver. The third dimension is about resources. We need to leverage resources internally and externally to make these things happen. And while we are doing all those, the fourth element I think we work on is the change agent program. It's about the youth leadership, because we want the voice of the young people to be heard across border. So basically, I want to say a year from now, we have 75 YMCA clearly say we are on board. They put it on the strategy document. There are many YMCA already working on pillars. I just hear Tal from Australia explaining what is happening. YMCA Australia took this responsibility about meaningful work and brought on board this global partner on Deloitte. And currently, we are moving ahead to see what is happening in the world and what is the aspiration of the young people, so that we come with something that is bold, that we can organize. And the same thing we have is essential. We have different YMCA taking initiative in different parts. We are just happy that the plane is airborne and things are happening.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Carlos. I love an airborne plane that serves food and drinks, and I can't wait until we're beginning to see and measure impact continually across the years. I'm just wondering, what has surprised you on this 12-month journey so far, for better or for worse?
What surprised me? I'll give another analogy. You talk about the food in the plane, isn't it? If Vision 2030 is a 3-course food, what I'm hearing people say, we don't need the entree, the first, just bring the real things. People want to do the work. So all those process of preparing of things, people are just doing it. And it's going all over. When I travel, when I visit YMCA, in many YMCA, Vision 2030, everyone is aligning the program to the Vision 2030. That is something that is beyond expectation. The way it's going, everybody is going. Still, we have some YMCA still trying to get involved, but I have not heard anyone saying, oh, this Vision 2030 is, no, everybody wants to do. I can tell you many stories about things that are happening. What surprised me in the older sense is all those experiences we are not aware of. And it will take us to travel to those places to know. It surprised me that we, in this digital area, we are still not able to share those experiences. But it's coming, and that's where we need to put our effort in, to be able to share those experiences for the world to know what is happening with Vision 2030.
You are right, Carlos, and I think this is like a whole process, and we also have seen that in Latin America and the Caribbean, how some YMCAs are also adopting it, and so far, but then the others are like taking, I will say, baby steps to that. So with all this scenario, what do you think are your priorities to 2026?
Our priority is, first, we need to move quicker. We need to move quicker with the formation of the team. The movement supports or the backbone team. There are 4 of them. We need to set them so that national movement is ready to do the work, should be able to start doing the work. They are doing it already, but how do we support them? We need to move quicker on that. If we talk about meaningful work, just to give that example, we talk about Vision 2030. My dream is that by 2030, the YMCA will gather all the key players globally, like what United Nations does. The YMCA could be able to bring all the actors of meaningful work together to say, this is what young people are talking about. This is what they want to do. Is their own project, is the youth-led solution. We should be able to do that. And that is a big ambition. I want us by 2026, when we meet in Toronto for the World Council, that we display our big ambition for the world of young people. We display our big ambition for the community, so that, we always say we are the oldest, we are the biggest. Then people say, so what? But by 2026, we need to tell them, we need to show them, so what is this? We are able to mobilize the world around young people on issues that concerning them. And I'm fully charged to go to that direction.
Thanks, Carlos. I can't wait to be in Toronto, putting that in the universe already. Now, we have a couple of audience questions here, just very quickly before we let you go to your busy day. Emmanuel from Paris is just asking, the Y advocates for sustainable planet. What can the Y movement do next to be more sustainable and equitable in our work?
That's a great question. I just want to share with you something that I saw last time when I was in the USA. One of the local CEO were in Aros and was in a collab on sustainability. And she went back to her country and mobilized another 9 CEO of local YMCA to talk about the collab. And today they are meeting to think about how can we reduce the carbon footprint of our building. And I can tell you, the way they are moving, very soon we're going to have some model, some example about how YMCA can do the carbon audit of their building. How can we take steps toward reducing these carbon footprints? It's happening without, let's say, World YMCA or anyone being involved. This is the initiative for YMCA people. So it's so important for us to be able to share those experiences because many things are happening. I know YMCA are planting trees for each of the initiative. There are a lot of things happening. If you can put them together and learning from what we are doing from meaningful work, we could be able to show our massive impact on sustainability. More importantly, it's important that we can relay the voice of young people. Young people in the movement, young people in our community are raising voice to talk about sustainability. We should be a platform to raise those voices.
Amazing, Carlos. Thank you so much for your time. But before we go, what will be your last message on Vision 2030 for the audience?
You know, it's happening. Vision 2030 is happening. I give the analogy of the plane. Please be on the plane. Be on the plane. Because we are going 2030 and beyond 2030. We want each of us here, each of us in the YMCA to be the actor for a just, sustainable, equitable, and inclusive world for all. No one should be left behind. So join the plane. The plane will stop whenever it's needed. Join the plane. There is enough space for everybody to go into this direction toward our North Star for this just, sustainable, equitable, inclusive world for all. And I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for the team behind this. Thank you for the whole leaders around the world to make that happen. We need to give hope to our community and to our young people.
Thank you, Carlos, for sharing with us this Vision 2030 journey, to be here with us and motivate all the audience to keep going on that journey. We look forward to seeing you again in Latin America.
And in Australia.
Very soon.
Well, we're almost at a close, but before we go, you have been sending your comments and message, right, Kevin?
Yes, they have. I'll just read a couple here. All right, so we have people joining us from all over the world. We have Paolo from YMCA Cayman Islands, Harsha from YMCA Sri Lanka. Hello, thank you for joining us. Emmanuel from Paris, supporting the team at YMCA France. I'm guessing Emmanuel asked the question before. Gotti from YMCA Ghana, saying how they love hearing from Victoria earlier. Hello. Plazungosa, who's joining us from Lusaka, Zambia. Victor from Sierra Leone, YMCA. Wekesa and Erida joining us from Kenya on Facebook, which is very cool. What an amazing global community we're a part of. And thank you all for joining us today.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's leave you with some crucial actions that you can take wherever you are in the world and whatever your role is within the YMCA.
Absolutely. We've loved seeing YMCAs around the world bringing Vision 2030 to a wider audience through your events, your websites, and your social media channels. The more we talk about Vision 2030, the more we share, the better.
And don't forget, there are brilliant resources at your fingertips to support all of us with the Vision 2030 journey on World YMCA News website at ymca.imp.
Yes, you'll find videos, communication resources, case studies, and the all-important practical guide on how to implement Vision 2030. And head over to our YouTube channel for interviews, stories, and the highlights from the Ignite Show and the YMCAs the world over.
Plus, if you are not already signing up for the World YMCA monthly newsletter, signing up is where all the latest news on Vision 2030 is delivered straight to your inbox.
Wow, what a show. Please go online, purchase your boarding pass for the Vision 2030 plane. Thank you for joining us today, wherever you are, and have a great rest of the day or great night, great morning, and catch you next time.
Goodbye. Ciao, ciao.
Goodbye.